Happy 420. I'm Kai.
And I'm Queen Reefer.
And you're watching
Stone Cold Murder.
Just a PSA, if you have any information to help solve a crime, you can go to crimestoppers.com to report any information anonymously.
This podcast contains material that might not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Season 3, Episode 6. How are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, are you?
Yeah. Why you ask like that?
Because I've just been roasting you all night, so I want to see if you're actually good or...
Yeah, I'm good.
I wanted to see if you need some mustard for that burn. Mustard!
No, I would like some ice though.
Can't do that, my fridge is broken. So,
I'll just be in pain.
Kind of looked out.
Well, yay. So good for me, I suppose. Queen Reaver's just been roasting me, telling me I've been old this fucking whole time.
Well, to be fair, Matt started it.
Throw Matt under the bus.
He said you're old because you dabbed the old way and this is the present day.
No, that was all you. He said I had the 2010 version of DAP or something like that. Yeah, and you had the newer one or whatever.
Yeah.
Which you squeeze a hand, and I, quite frankly, I don't like getting that intimate with people like that. Not in that
my
way.
dick up your butt, like.
Well, I don't want you touching my hand, like. Just slide it. Anyway, I'm old, apparently. And Queen is so young and not old. And will never be old.
Okay.
No, it's okay. I just turned 30, so I'm not really old.
It's pretty old. You're halfway to 60.
Ah!
So.
And okay. I'm just gonna not now.
So on that note, dab me up. I'm just kidding.
I'm not doing that ever again to you.
Okay, I'm kidding, but can you look at the bean?
What a precious
Look
woman.
at her.
She looks
She looks
cute.
squished.
She
But
does.
she's not. She's just a bean.
She's just a bean.
She looks so
Precious.
chunky. She's not that chunky. She just is beaned. Look! She looks hefty, and she looks like she has no neck, Kevin has. Why am I so roasty today?
Well, as you can see, we have both indulged in the fine, beautiful, lovely Mary Jane. And I hope you guys have too, because we're about to get this thing growing. Not growing, but rolling.
I was so serious and so ready to start this, and this motherfucker said growling.
Well, let's go. Are you ready?
Yep.
And are you guys
I'm ready because you know what? If you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready because you're already ready.
Stay hard!
So, this week we are heading to South Africa for this case.
Okay.
Our story starts out October 7th, 2017. A nurse was working what seemed to be a normal shift for her at the hospital located in South Africa's Western Cape. She was checking in on her patients throughout her shift, and one of her patients was 61-year-old Teteteki. Teteteki was in the hospital recovering from an abdominal surgery that he had only 2 days prior, which was on October 5th. So the nurse went in and checked on him at 5:15 on the morning of the 7th. She was making sure he was comfortable and had everything that he needed. And then she left the room to grab some new bed sheets, to freshen up his bed. Okay. Everything's normal. But when she returned, her patient, Mr. Teteteki, was completely gone. Nowhere to be found.
Interesting.
Which was odd because he was covering from that abdominal surgery, which would have prevented him from moving very quickly. And the linen closet was just down the hallway, so not even a minute walk from where he was.
Oh, weird.
So, yeah.
And you would think, too, like, if he got up and left, like, other nurses or other people in the hospital would see.
Especially if he was that close, too.
Yeah.
So she went ahead and searched for him around the hospital, but ultimately turned up with nothing. So she had some coworkers help look, and they couldn't find him either. So what they ended up doing was calling his family. And she just asked the family if somehow did Mr. Teteteki come back home with them. This call sent Tetetski's family into a complete panic because he was not with them at all, obviously, and like we said, he could barely get around from that surgery. So they were like, what the fuck do you mean he's not in the hospital?
Yeah.
You know, like,
he's supposed to be, like, safe there.
That's really concerning.
Yeah.
Really concerning. So his family went ahead and rushed down to the hospital to see if they could find him maybe. But when they searched, they came up with absolutely nothing either. And they went ahead and reported Teteteki missing that next morning. So on October 8th. So police came down and they searched the hospital as well. But again, nowhere to be found. Which is crazy because it's a fucking hospital.
I don't know how it is in, like, different countries, but did it mention anything about, like, surveillance footage?
I didn't see anything about surveillance footage, which makes me think that perhaps there was not
a camera.
Anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you would, like, figure, like,
something.
He would be on there if
Something.
there were.
So yeah, nothing came up from their search. They found no clues or evidence to point where he could have gone. And honestly, how he could have even left the room without, like you said, alarming the staff or showing any signs of a struggle whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like,
and especially if, like, what the doctor or nurse said was true. I just went and got linen.
Yeah.
And it was, like, right down the hall. Like, how could he escape that fast?
I have no idea.
Or, like, get far enough where she wouldn't be able to see him walking away or something.
Right. It's very odd.
Very strange.
Well, that's where we take our first smoke break.
And this smoke break is brought to you by bread. Just bread.
And we're back. 2 weeks later, in an isolated part of the hospital that was under renovation, so it was under construction, there were some construction workers that found the body of Teteteki.
In, like, a whole different section?
Yes. Teteteki's body was found in the ceiling, curled up in the fetal position.
Huh?
The ceiling.
Wait. Time out. In
Pause.
The ceiling? But that doesn't even make sense. The storyline and timeline does not make sense.
What part?
Because if the doctor only went to the linen closet just to grab bedding, and she said it was right down the hall, how would either A, Teteteki escape, or B, someone get him and drag him across the whole hospital and put him in the ceiling? That doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up.
That timeline's not timelining.
It doesn't add up. You're right. But it's the only timeline we have to go off of.
I'm just saying.
So I'm not really sure.
I'm just putting it out there.
No, I know. It doesn't make sense. Someone's
fishy.
Someone's something. But the ceiling too is a weird spot to hide a body. I guess if the area is under construction, you would. I guess it's smart because nobody's gonna really be over there. But like, how does the body even hold it? The ceiling even hold the body?
Or how do they even get the body in there without no one knowing or seeing something?
That. Unless you're trying to say that he crawled up there, but I don't know how.
Especially if he just had surgery.
Yeah, no. The tragic news was shared with his family, and they were, of course, both horrified and confused as to how something like this could happen, which I think everybody would be in this situation. Like, fuck?
That's like one of the like last places you would ever expect like something like that to happen.
I know. I mean, you could think about it like we went through something where our dad went through surgery like that, and what would you do if the hospital called us and said he was just missing, and then we found him in the fucking ceiling somewhere? Hell no.
That's crazy.
Like, no. I can't wrap my head around it. Teteteki was a father of 6 and had been in there for what I said was abdominal surgery. And the surgery went initially well. And he only had to be in there for a couple weeks just to recover because it was kind of an intrusive surgery, regardless of it going well. He was there a week afterwards and was not able to like really get around on his own because of it, because the muscles and stuff are pretty significant there. And I think whenever you have surgery, it takes some time to rebuild those to be able to fully have that range of motion, you know? But even though he was having that difficulty with his mobility, he was expected to make a full recovery. So it wasn't like it was debilitating for him. It wasn't the time, but he was going to heal. His family obviously expected him to be safe in the hospital while he recovered, and finding out that he was stuffed to the ceiling must have had to be gut-wrenching for them. Like, I couldn't imagine. So I'm sure like everybody's wondering, how did Teteteki get into the ceiling, and like who would do this to him? You know what I mean? Because I guess the hospital is a place to find vulnerable people, but like we said, we would think it would be a little harder to do something like this in a hospital.
And especially too, like, either A, it has to be one strong motherfucker, or B, it has to be multiple people, because not just like the average person could just pick up a human, like a grown human's body, and just
dead weight.
Yeah, in the ceiling.
Yeah, and the fetal position, I feel like, tells me he was like in pain or something. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm reading too much into that, but I don't think someone would stuff a body in some place into the fetal position if they were killed before. I don't know. It's just odd. It's an odd circumstance all the way around. And sadly, there wasn't really any evidence that helped the police out in the investigation either. There was an autopsy that was performed, but it was not released to the public or any of the family, which struck me as odd. Like,
is that common?
No, the public is one thing, but
to
not
the family.
Exactly. Not having the family allowed to an autopsy is a really weird thing. Obviously, things might be different in South Africa, but
that seems weird.
Would think that you should have access to an autopsy, at least as like your what do they call that when you sign off for people? Not like your emergency contact, but kind of the person
I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't
chooses to pull the plug or whatever if you have it.
Yeah, that seems weird. I almost I mean, maybe you'll get to it a little bit, but it almost seems to me like maybe the surgery didn't go as planned or what they said. What if it didn't, and there was like malpractice, and maybe someone was trying to cover their butt. Yeah,
I mean, that could make a lot of sense. It's odd regardless, and I guess if you're in a position where you could get your license taken away, you would become desperate. But Teteteki's brother stated that he felt left in the dark and that the family was losing hope and any answers from the police, or for any answers from the police. Police reported that the autopsy results pointed to natural causes of death. Specific information on why this conclusion was determined is completely unavailable and has not been released to the family members or anybody.
That just seems so fishy. Like, if it was something of natural cause, why wouldn't you release the autopsy? Like, it almost seems like either A, like I said, something happened in the surgery and someone was trying to cover their butt, or maybe like one of the nurse gave him the wrong medication.
Right.
And like there was like some kind of weird maybe medication that was in his system that maybe ended up to his death, and then they tried to hide it.
Or even like, I don't know if you've seen this recently. I can't remember where it was, but it was here in the U.S. There's a nurse taking people's IV bags and putting stuff in it to kill them.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Fucking crazy.
That's insane.
It really is. Like,
people are so gross.
Yeah, they really are. A spokeswoman for the investigative party stated that the family had been communicated with and had received the information regarding the autopsy results. However, Tetetski's brother said that the hospital management said it was clear that my brother did not die as a result of natural causes.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting that the hospital differed from what the police said. Like, that was very interesting to me. Because police said died of natural causes, but did not release the autopsy. Hospital said it was very clear that he did not die of natural causes. Interesting, right?
Now that makes me question what I just said about maybe a nurse gave him the wrong.
I don't know.
What?
It's weird.
And then like how, I guess, like they found the body, but why is the like hospital management knowing more information than like the actual family?
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Right?
It is.
Like if they know what the autopsy said, why do they know but not the family?
Yeah, it's a problem, I feel like.
Yeah, that's so messed up. I would be so pissed and livid if that was like one of my family members and they didn't give us that information.
Me too.
Just even for like, I mean, it's not going to change the outcome, obviously.
No.
But just for that like closure.
Right. Yeah, because you don't want to think that someone murdered him or whatever.
Yeah.
Like you would want to know what happened.
Yeah, that seems just so weird to me.
It's fishy as fuck. They said that he died as a result of something and was placed where he was found. That's what they believe. His brother suspects foul play or negligence caused by the hospital contributed to how his brother ended up in the ceiling. So he obviously thinks that kind of what you thought, that it was either a foul play on the hospital's part or just like negligence completely. And then they were trying to cover up their tracks and stuff them in the ceiling.
That's almost like...
That's
like,
a lot
that's
of work.
what I'm leaning towards. Is like they were just trying. Someone was trying to cover up something.
Yeah, because they want to lose their job, probably,
or like their license or something. Like what other reason?
I don't know.
And then the like not releasing the autopsy just kind of almost like double downs on it. You know?
I agree.
Like why? What's the point of not releasing that? It just seems like someone's trying to cover up something.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But then why wouldn't like what would the police have to hide of like not sharing it? That's so weird.
It's very strange.
Unfortunate.
It is, isn't it? I couldn't imagine. Tetetski's daughter said that the investigation seemingly went nowhere and that she was told that there was nothing more that could be done in the case. And just like that, Mr. Tetetski's case went very stagnant and very cold, leaving his family very upset and demanding answers, honestly, as to how this could have happened and why did it happen to their loved one. The family hoped that the hospital would take some kind of responsibility for what happened in Tetetski's case while he was in their care, but like obviously nothing came of that, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah, zero accountability for that, which I don't know how. The family was struggling to come up with funds for the funeral, which was really sad. So obviously they weren't prepared for that at all. And they hoped that at the very least the hospital would offer to help out with the unexpected funeral costs, but nothing was offered.
Of course.
No responsibility was ever taken and no help was ever offered to the grieving family from anyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. That's where we'll take our second smoke break.
And this smoke break is brought to you by wieners. Not the kind in your pants, but the kind that roam free in the yard.
On May 10th of 2019, so 2 years later, a man named Sandile was rushed to the hospital in Durban, South Africa. Sandile was a construction worker, and that day he was helping his neighbor with a house repair, and the wall of the house that they were working on collapsed, and this broke his right femur.
Oof.
Yeah,
that sounds horrid.
I can't imagine. After an assessment and an initial treatment, Sandile's medical provider recommended that he transfer to a different hospital for treatment so that he could be seen by an orthopedic specialist, which makes sense because of the severe break that he had. Now, I'm not sure really how long in between him breaking his femur and him being transferred over to this orthopedic specialist took, but his nurse said that she was preparing his things for transfer. She left the room, came back, and then Sandile was missing.
This is a different hospital too, you said?
A different hospital. This one's in Durban, South Africa.
Weird.
Right. Which, fun fact, Durban, South Africa is home to one of our landlocked strains, which is Durban poison. What does a landlocked strain mean? It means that it is a naturally growing plant in that environment. So when you smoke Durban poison, it's like an OG plant. She grows in Durban, South Africa, and it's beautiful. It's natural there. Fun marijuana tip for y'all there. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not sure how long the timeline was in between this, but I would assume it must have been like he stayed overnight to where maybe he didn't have any family or something with him. Maybe they were gone. I don't know. Which made him like completely alone and then missing. But like, I don't know how this happens where she's here taking care of him, getting ready for him to be transferred, and then all of a sudden, gone. I guess
it's strange.
Yeah. And maybe if there was family in the room, maybe like they just stepped out of the room with her and that's when he went missing, because it doesn't really say. But regardless, he went missing. And nobody...
Is she okay?
Yeah, she just was like...
getting cozy.
I think so. Yeah, but regardless, Sandile was missing. And just like Teteteki, he was in the hospital for something that would inhibit him from walking because he broke his fucking femur. So at least like walking fast enough to where he could disappear out of the hospital with no one seeing.
That doesn't make sense.
Like, no way. No way he's doing that himself. So the staff searched for Sandile and again couldn't find anything from him or any evidence that pointed to where he could have gone or how he could have gone out of the hospital. So they went ahead and reported him missing to the South African Police Department. And like Teteteki, Sandile wasn't found at all. Like I said, no evidence. Even with the police's help, they found absolutely nothing, nor did they even know where to start.
Mm-hmm. Did they think at the time it was like correlated in any way? Or no?
I don't think they did. It doesn't say any correlations, especially because it was 2 years later and a completely different hospital. So I'm not sure that they figured that out or either right away or at all. 2 weeks go by and the hospital staff began reporting what they called an unbearable stench, which we usually know what that means. One of the staff members discovered a leak in a storeroom and it was dripping with a suspicious fluid. When maintenance went to take a look on Friday, May 25th, Sandile's decomposing body would be found in the storeroom ceiling.
In the ceiling again?
Again, in the ceiling, which 2 for 2, that's wild.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to bring up this point again. Mm-hmm. Do they now think it's correlated? Or does it still not say?
It doesn't say yet. And if I'm being honest, it's been a while since I wrote this, so I don't remember if they do correlate it or not.
Because, like, you know, I wonder if it, like, they started to think it was correlated and they started, like, looking into if there was any traveling nurses or something like that.
Right, which is exactly what I would expect. Or someone who got fired from their job. Like, ended up getting fired and then transferred to a different hospital. I can't remember what serial killer it was, but there's a serial killer that lived here in the U.S. that faked all of his credentials. He faked that he was a surgeon, faked that he was a nurse, faked that he was a doctor, and got hospital or jobs at different hospitals, and was just able to just kill people throughout his career.
How is that even a thing to be able to fake something like that?
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But it happens. So, like, it's not out of the, like, question that it could happen.
You're so sweet.
Mm-hmm. Just like Teteteki, Sandile's body was obviously found 2 weeks later after he was reported missing. And the oddest part of all was obviously that they were both found in the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, neither of them could walk by themselves even, really.
Yeah. And it's not like they crawled up in the ceiling. Like,
how?
How would you?
Mm-mm.
From abdominal surgery, how could you lift yourself up? And then with a broken leg, you wouldn't be able to put any pressure on it to,
No.
like, climb up.
No. Of course, with, like, a case like this, rumors swirled and swirled that Sandile was a psychiatric patient and that he went crazy and ran away from the hospital staff. And then he unfortunately ended up in the ceiling. But we all know, like you just said, with a broken femur, like, more than likely you're not getting into that ceiling. You're not running away. Regardless if you're having a psychiatric break or not, that's not usually plausible. I will say maybe someone on meth.
Yeah, I was going to say drugs.
Something like that, perhaps, but that's not what was happening in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah, and, like, I mean, they probably don't know at the time that maybe there was another case. Like, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But without that other information that we have, too, like, they don't see that it's, like, just weird because 2 people are in the ceiling at 2 different hospitals. But, like, for them, they probably, like, obviously don't have that information, so.
Right. It's crazy.
It's not like, oh yeah, this is definitely foul play in their mind.
So a newly appointed official for one of the health organizations released a statement promising to investigate how Sandile ended up in the ceiling. She also provided clarity that Sandile was in the hospital for a broken femur and was not a psychiatric patient, as some sources had previously reported. Despite these reassurances, though, they continued to claim that there was no security issues or cause for concern at the hospital, which is interesting to me when they have no idea what happened to him. But yeah. I don't know. Sandile was 53 years old at the time of his death and was a healthy dude. Otherwise reported in all sources, he was healthy, happy. He never previously suffered from any mental health conditions or cognitive impairments. So I don't know why people were really, like, pulling that out of the hat. It's like a weird thing to say about someone, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
His family demanded answers, of course, reporting that they were originally denied the ability to view his body. Which is another weird thing. Like, usually you have to identify him.
Yeah, but then again, like we were talking about earlier, I don't know, like, how different it is in, like, different countries. You would think it would almost be the same, but.
And I would think that if things were different there, they would know that they can't view the body. You know what I mean?
For it to be a surprise that they're, like, not allowed to.
Right? Like, it has to be weird. Otherwise, they wouldn't say it, right?
Right.
Very little follow-up has been released regarding the determination of death or the subsequent investigation for Sandile's family. Both families have been completely left in the dark and left without their loved ones and numerous unanswered questions for both cases. And unfortunately, nothing has been discovered, no evidence, no person of interest has been discovered for these cases, and there's really nothing much for them to go off of, except for, of course, some theories. So I've got a little bit of theories that people have come up with, but we're going to take a smoke break first.
And this smoke break is brought to you by Pod Dog.
Pod dog. And we're back from our smoke break. We're going to talk about some theories that people have. The first one is that both men crawled into the ceiling on their own.
No.
No. Immediately no. Mm-mm.
No, immediately no. I've seen what I needed to see, and immediately no.
Yeah, honestly, I don't believe this one at all. Obviously, due to the fact that Sandile needed an orthopedic surgeon and rehab for his leg being crushed that day. Couldn't walk. Or I don't think could get into the ceiling for that matter, like crawl around. Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying. Like, not only could he not walk, but like putting your weight on to lift yourself up is a whole nother different type, I would think, right?
No, I agree. There's no way. And Teteteki had also had surgery that would have made it near impossible for him to pull any of that off. So, no. Some people argue that the medication that they had been given for the pain and the surgery and all that could have affected them, making them either scared and wanting to run away and hide. Like a psychiatric issue. Also blocking out like pain receptors that they normally would feel. Maybe that's how they got up in their current state, but like, I don't know. I don't think you're taking anything that strong that's going to allow you to get up. Like if you are taking something that strong, you're staying in bed. You're not.
I could like, okay, maybe if it was a one-off thing, but for two people, like not even that like far apart in timeline, like to have been found in the ceiling, just that theory just doesn't make sense. Like, okay, maybe a one-off where someone has a weird episode, but for two people to have an episode like that just doesn't seem likely. Right.
And both victims are unable to walk. Yeah. That's the issue, too.
I don't buy it.
No, I don't either. Another theory is that a staff member or a different patient killed them, and instead of dealing with it or alerting the proper people, the bodies were just hidden. Which, in my opinion, a staff member seems more likely, but it is such weird circumstances and a fast timeline that it's really hard to come up with like a good theory on how or why or what was able to be pulled off, I guess, unless it was multiple people or just overworked and understaffed or something to where they could get away with something like that. Neither hospital has taken any responsibility, however, for what has happened, and police seem to be keeping any information that they do have very close to the chest. Both families are left with enormous losses and unanswered questions as to what happened to their loved ones. And left in the dark. Like, I don't know. It's just really unfortunate. Nothing has ever come more of this case.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, like what I said, I think it's very likely that someone's covering up someone in there. I think maybe whether it was on accident or on purpose, I think they're just covering their butts on something. Either A, someone didn't follow procedure when doing the surgery, or B, like a nurse accidentally gave them medication that they weren't supposed to and it killed them and then tried to cover it up, or it was purposefully, not an accident.
Yeah.
But before I say anything else, damn it, she just moved. She looked like a rotisserie chicken with her fucking arm. Like it was. She did. Did you see it? It was all tucked in and she looked like a rotisserie.
A little rotis.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I don't think it's very likely that they got there themselves.
No.
I don't buy it.
I can't believe that. I just can't. My head can't wrap around that one. All right. Any other theories or comments on that case?
No.
If you guys have any theories or comments on this week's case, leave them down in the comments below. But until next time, stay high,
stay safe,
and thank you for watching.
Hey guys, Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when we drop our next episode. If you want to see more of the host Kai, follow her at Chronic Chaos on all socials. Also, follow Queen Reefer at Queen Reefer on all socials. And if you'd like, catch her on Twitch, where she streams Monday and Friday.